When I do magic, it feels like I'm transmuting a part of my spirit through will and creating an action on multiple planes. It's almost like the choice to act through magic quantum entangles that action in every way that we exist on every plane, and in some way, every part of myself on every plane does the same action. We don't just exist here. We have an astral body. We have a causal body. We have material body, of course. We have a pranic body. So a number of ways that magic manifests itself when we choose to act through it. I think magic can be most accurately described as a multi-dimensional action. Something that manifests from that really strange thing that we call choice. There's a part of me that's a little deterministic. You know, the idea that certain things cause me to act in this way or that way. I do believe in free choice, but I think that it's not quite as free as people think. It can be determined by a number of factors. It's almost like, willpower, the ability to act, free choice. That's what makes sentient beings unique. It's what makes us, as it said, more capable than the angels, at least in that way. The angels being an extension of power rather than choosing to do this or that. Even Michael, who I'm very close to, is an extension of the source rather than free will, like I think that we have the ability to do to a certain degree. And when we, in this one lifetime, choose to act through magic, choose that most wonderful and precarious of engagements, part of me thinks that it uses up a little bit of our life force. Part of me thinks that it can have an effect through multiple lifetimes, because I do believe in reincarnation. And it's almost like we're scientists conducting experiments with the energy that is just beneath everything, by piercing reality with our will and drawing into that energy and forming something into creation. Not necessarily creating, but tapping into and altering the flow of energy into creation to produce a certain effect, to varying degrees of success based on how good you are at it. And I think of the problem of the paradox, or the logical problem of Theseus's ship of Theseus. If you replace every part of a ship, is it still the same ship? If over time you start replacing things that wear down or that, break, something like that, the boards, the nails, the keels, the oars, the sails, at what point does the ship no longer become the same ship? At some point, when you act through magic enough, to a certain degree, through action and action again and again and again, and you alter your reality, and you direct your will into your body, and your body is the tool, it's the ship in a way. At what point have you made yourself or used your body as a tool to such an extent that the tool itself is changed? We still feel it like it's us. I think it's that most of our cells, the vast majority of our cells in our body, are replaced every 7 years. But it's still, we still think of it as us. And the same soul resides in us. I think that no matter what you change through magic, the spirit of your action, I'm using spirit in a different regard here, the spirit of your action, the intention, I think that we're always the same in a certain way like that. No matter how much our body changes, no matter how much our reality changes when we act through magic, there's always that seed of us that no matter how much we change is always the same. So I think that the ship of Theseus problem is, it's more the captain of the ship than that matters than the actual ship being the same. Just like after all, our cells are replaced so many times. It's the same spirit within, or the same soul, the same seed, that really matters and makes us a person. Crowley said, "Do as thou wilt, that shall be the whole of the law." Very misunderstood phrase, because you kind of have to figure out what really is your will. And when you're doing magic, it's almost like a homing beacon to find out who you really are. The more you act, the more reaction you get from reality, the more you start to see the edges of who you are deep down. Magic can be a sonar in that way, feeling out of yourself. Karma is very similar as well. I do believe in karma. And no matter what kind of magic it is, there's this old understanding that the bigger nature spirit gets, the less of what it was, the less of an identity, an individual identity that it has. Like if a dwarf spirit, if it slowly becomes more and more like a mountain, and it slowly becomes a mountain, it becomes more powerful. It can become the mountain, more and more powerful to that extent. And then when it becomes a mountain, the less of an individual will and individual identity it has, because you become more and more the power. So magic underneath the fabric of reality, perhaps so many beings, and not necessarily in time and space, but through will, have used magic until they become the infinite source of it. They become the power. And then at some point, perhaps they become the power to such an extent that they no longer have will. They're just the power. That's something to think about as well. But that's just an idea. Not sure if it's true. It's possible. But that's not most people's relationship to magic. And most people don't become mountains or continents or land whites. Land whites are the grander spirit of a land. Most of us affect little changes, and we get reactions from the world. And then so much of what we do is magic without us really knowing it. The way we direct our thoughts and our efforts into certain projects in a way, that's a spell. And it can be considered as, so mote it be. If you're focusing on something becoming the new reality so much, it's almost like a inner mantra that you say again and again and again, and then it happens. I don't think that magic just pertains to the occult for this reason. It is something it is the nature of will directed through us as a person and us directing that will. And like I said, I'm partly a determinist, and I think that there's a lot of influences that cause people to do different things, but I still think that we have free will. The whole world and the whole universe, it's all connected. The earth itself is a brain trying to figure out a problem. And the problem may not be a phrase, may not be a paragraph, may not even be able to be contained in a book, but we're all working towards something. And we're all little pieces of a grander spell, perhaps. And a grander will that's acting in multiple ways through us in order to understand itself. In that way, we're always a part of magic, macrocosmically speaking. And, that's where free will and destiny and determinism kind of get all muddied. Practically speaking, we can do a spell, we can act, we can channel our efforts into something and cast. We're doing that all the time. At any rate, these have been some of my ideas about magic. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video at all, hit that thumbs up down there on the channel and leave a comment. That also helps a lot. Thank you very much, and all of you have a wonderful day.